too many hot toddies. You want a flatter stomach or some vitamin C? Get up Juice to find, they got whatever you need. And it don't even matter, cause whatever it is, if you ain't got a car, they pulling up to your crib. Cause all the virus talk got everybody tripping. So you better start boosting your immunity system. Juice to find is the best. Get it raw, fresh, and cold pressed. I said Juice to find is the best. Get it raw, fresh, and cold pressed. Juice to find is the best. Get it raw, fresh, and cold pressed. I said Juice to find is the best. Get it raw, fresh, and cold pressed.
Against the PLOT. If you get revenge, do you really get the victory? If you listen to me, does that really mean you're hearing me? Win the game of life, maybe one day you would cheer. First of all, I would like to thank each and every one of y'all for helping your boy up whenever I fall. I know sometimes it get hard, but you can't give up, cause if you do, you might not get to live. You gotta get away from what causes you harm. Live life to the death tatted on my right arm. That's necessary, live it like the last day. Though you could end up every getting it the fast way. Ski mask way, no time for busters. Only people around me are them true motherfuckers. Being from the bottom, you can learn a lot of things. Bust a window with a spark plug, jacket rings. Never knew I'd make it, always had a lot of hope. Moms and pops fighting mostly over fucking dope. A lot to swallow, so I'm trying not to fucking choke. My life's a drama, so it's nothing like a fucking joke.
I am not a political poet. I'm one of the romantics. My identity lies solely in what I can make beautiful, like how the light in my niece's eyes is the moon eclipsing the sun. I try not to think of how life might darken it, of how the world would fight to steal that light from her, and I'm still reconciling with the fact that I can't save her. So I look at my hands, the ones that are so like my mother's. In them I hold the book of me. Nowhere near full or bursting, but still burned and tampered with. Some of it I did myself. I want to write that I tried my best, that I pushed through and came out triumphant in the end. Ray, the black queer romantic who loved and hated everyone, as if that is all that I am. And I'm realizing that I don't trust myself. And maybe the issue is that I don't feel loved or appreciated. Maybe the issue is all the world's trauma that lies in my bones. Naturally, the romantic in me wants to tie my trauma in a pretty red bow and hand it to you. Say yes, look at how real I am. Look at how sad my life has been. Yes, pity me, yes, love me, so young, so much light, such a bright smile, mature. Look at how she carries the world on her shoulders. What y'all don't know is that my knees will buckle and give out before I complain about the weight. And isn't that what it is to be an artist that loves her family? Silently love them in the corner, too cowardly to take action, but love them in the writing, wishing, hoping, praying to be able to save them all. I am learning that they don't need me, that my silent prayers won't help them, so I step back and watch, make a romance out of my own life. But even as my future is finally coming together, I am still hell-bent on destruction. Because I know just how good I've got it. I can afford to be destructive, to plunge myself into darkness, call it my lover, and leave them just as fast. Befriend the light and let every hour be golden and mine. The sun as it sets fills me with envy and the desire to burn. So I leave my friends up in smoke, my life ash on my tongue.
So, first of all, I want to thank you for joining me for this new chapter of Saved by the Pen. Okay. So we did the documentary, and now we are turning it into a full docu-series. And thank you for being a part of this episode.
Thank you for having me here. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. So you write.
I do.
Do you have a specialty in what you like to write?
I write a lot of. I write a lot of from my point of view, but I do think a lot about what other people think, and so sometimes I can translate into the poetry as well. So yeah, but I write a lot of stuff that's like about queerness and the abuses I went through as a child and body image and things like that. It's kind of where my writing's at right now.
So do you write these pieces for yourself or to be shared?
Sometimes the piece never begins with other people in mind. It's always like, this is on my heart and it needs to come out somewhere, and if it ends up sounding good, then I'm like, heck yeah, people can hear it. And if I don't like the way that it sounds, then I'm just like, wow, that hurt to write and I don't like it. Oh. So yeah, but I've never really been averse to sharing my work, especially if I feel like I have something good to say and valid to say, but also that I feel it's worth sharing.
So I've been knowing you for like 4 years.
Yeah.
When do you remember when you first started writing?
I wrote.
And you're young too. I don't know if it's not a proper thing to ask a woman her age, but you can share that if you like.
Yeah, I'm 18.
Hey.
Yeah.
Big 18.
So I first started writing. I think the first story I ever wrote was about two teddy bears that fell in love. One of them was like a rose gardener, and the other one was like some regular old businessman. And it was like a story about how they came together and being in love. And I had never I had always loved writing and always had a special connection with language, but I didn't really consider myself to be a writer until I was about 13, and I started coming to the truth, and I started realizing that this could potentially be something that I do for a while, or something that I end up loving, and I do now. It's like my whole life. So,
Nice. So, how would you say? Because of course the title is Saved by the Pen, right? Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you? Because some people think it has a religious connotation. Mm-hmm. But you can take it however you want because art is interpreted, right?
Yeah. So, I think my pen has saved me from myself a lot of times, because a lot of times I'll be like in my head and there'll just be this full-bodied anxiety where my chest is tight and I feel like I can't move. Why am I so sad? And there's all these just like words inside of my head and they're not going in any particular direction. But when I started writing poetry, they started turning into lines and more lines, and thinking about how I felt, but also thinking about how many ways you can say the same thing. And so as I started to get more into writing poetry and listening to poetry and reading it, it started to translate into how I just express myself in general, and that's how I put it to writing. So it's really just saved me from being in my own head to give me something to look at.
So almost like an escape out of your own head.
Sometimes I don't think it's necessarily, I would call it an escape. I would call it more of a release, because it's something that's there that needs to go. And if it doesn't go, then it's like I'm uncomfortable. Like my whole body feels weird, and then if I feel like I'm in a really strange like sitting position, I won't even move. I'm like so frozen by this anxiety that it's just like I can't do anything. So taking the pen to paper just helped me like relax and take a deep breath.
One of the analogies we like to use is a bottle of soda.
Yeah.
And how it's under pressure constantly, right?
It's always something that's like poking at me and messing with me, and it's like shaking it up and shaking it up until I just like eventually explode.
Yes.
that's how good art gets made.
But I like what you say, where you say that it's not an escape, it's more of a release. Because I'm visualizing how you release the pressure from a bottle of soda, right?
Right.
Little by little, little by
Right.
little by little, or it's gonna
Yeah.
explode everywhere.
Everywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that self-expression is what's needed when we're trying to deal with our stuff going on in our lives. Like, you need a release, some kind, a healthy one.
A healthy one.
You need a healthy release,
Healthy
some
one,
kind of way, or else you will be carrying around that pressure and you're just bottled up. And then the slightest little thing sets you off, and everybody gonna get it. Everybody get wet, right? So, okay. So you understand how, like, okay, so when you were young though, did you understand what the pen, like, you know now, you're old enough to know, like,
Yes.
what that coping skill is.
Yes.
But did you know then?
No. Growing up, we were encouraged to do things and learn how to express ourselves. But I guess you could say it was kind of like a means to an end almost. Like, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna be good at it. There is no hobby or this. It's like, is this what you want to do? Okay, fine. Well then, where are you signing up for open mics? Is there this publication companies, learning about how that works, learning about business, LLC, and it just gets farther and farther and farther. And I'm just like, you know, but as a 5-year-old, I was just more so looking for ways for people to be like, for me to be like, hey, look at me, look what I did, look at this, you know? It was more so for like the attention of saying, oh, she did this, she put this together.
Validation.
For validation. Because I was 5 years old. I just wanted to be like, hey,
We all
I'm
still
having
need
fun.
that today.
Right, we do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah.
All right, so I would love to hear a piece that you have for us to share.
Sure.
And then let me see if I could, I'm gonna try to write down some lines that stand out to me so I can break down these bars.
Got you. Okay, so I'll wait for you.
All right, so what you got for us?
So this is a poem that I wrote. So I recently got some pictures taken. Not recently, but a few months ago. I got some professional headshots taken for an event that I was doing. And that whole day I was so anxious because my hair wasn't done and when it comes to being a black girl, that's like your whole identity. If your hair isn't done, then anybody can say anything about you. Because, oh yeah, you looking nappy headed, yada yada yada, girl, you need to get what's going on, you know? And so, and then the clothes that I was wearing, it just didn't feel like it was fitting me. I was just uncomfortable in a lot of ways, and nobody had made me feel physically uncomfortable, but because I didn't feel confident and I didn't feel at my best self, it like hindered the pictures, and it set me off, and that's where the poem came from.
Okay.
Yeah. Diary. I don't like my body. I appreciate her for carrying me this far, but my mind is amuck with insecurity. I find that I only love myself when I weave my hair 32 inches down my back and paint my face thick to hide discoloration. Coat my face in shadows and blush, contour my face into a real woman. Reddish brown lip liner and beauty store lip gloss. I find that I only love myself when the picture of me is pinched nosed and glamored over. I hate taking pictures unless it is me taking them. Even then, the courage to post them eludes me. I feel pretty when nobody's watching. Allow myself to be other than me. Reject this body, her broad shoulders and boxy figure, so unlike what everyone seems to love, having a body. Another mad alchemy. I take a photo and everyone is watching. Suddenly, the discoloration on my neck is darker and more visible. The half-moon shadows under my eyes are deeper, and every blemish comes to say hello. Yes, indeed, hell is low. The wind is my enemy and my hair isn't done. Everyone is saying, you're beautiful. Ray, you are the moment. Stop being so stiff. I never learned to deflect what others said, so I just absorbed their words. Now I don't know what to do. So I smile, a practiced smile. Let their words stain my mind like pomegranate seeds until it's over. Reprimand myself for not being more confident, for not being like them, for not trying hard enough. Now I can't eat, and the walls of the room are too close together. Hunger churns in my belly, but I make no move to quell it. I go home, and I do not cry. I didn't feel unsafe. No one tried to make me feel less than. Being uncomfortable or unsettled in my body was nothing new to me. Inadequacy and I are no intimate strangers, so I change my clothes, throw my hair in a bonnet, and try not to think of how the pictures might turn out.
All right. Snap, snap, snap.
Thank you.
All right. Can you go back to that opening line? What stood out to me was how you referenced your body and you called your body her. Mm-hmm. What's that line?
I appreciate her for carrying me this far.
Why? What was your motivation for that choice?
When a lot of this year, just going into quarantine, I was thinking a lot about my gender and my gender identity, because queerness comes with this entire spectrum of how people can be and stuff like that. And so I, without fully realizing myself as a queer person, I just delved right into gender because I was like, oh, that's naturally the next step, see what's going on with my body. And so I went from genderqueer to gender fluid to non-binary, which they all mean the same thing. So it's not, but I think society tries to complicate things and just, it's like there's so many ways to say who you are, and it's like it gets a little confusing sometimes. So I was realizing though that the whole time it wasn't an issue with my gender and being like, oh, I'm not a girl, I am a girl, I'm a black woman, period, point blank, you know what I'm saying? But it was about the negative connotation that comes with being a girl. People saying, oh, shaming you for being who you are, but then harassing you for trying to be other than who you are. Mm. And so I call my body her because she's a woman fully, and that's how I feel about myself. Mm. I'm in love with femininity, but I also love my masculinity. And just like learning that self-acceptance, that just because I feel the need to other myself, I mean, I've always felt the need to other myself because I was a people pleaser. I wanted other people's approval. So now it's like I'm a black woman, but I'm still wear my baggy pants and big old t-shirts. I'm still gonna dress how I want to dress, but it's not about, I don't have to restrict who I am to fit into the parameters of what society feels like a girl or a woman should be.
I love that. Because, my kids are really small, so I am learning how to raise them.
Yes.
In today's society, because I cannot raise them the way I was raised.
Yes.
Right? Because if we're trying to break generational, toxic cycles, then we need to try to reverse some of this damage, right? Yes. So we're talking about the boys don't stand like that. Get your hands off your hips. Of course, don't wear pink. Don't talk like that. Don't walk like that. Mm-hmm. Boys don't cry. Like all of that stuff, right? So I'm trying to make sure I don't pass none of that off to my children. Right. But yeah, I've dealt with that too. I'm so glad that you are able to embrace, like you said, your femininity and your masculinity. Because those parts are both in all of us, in all of us. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still getting comfortable with expressing myself too, because I found myself like code switching, so to speak. Like if I'm around some manly men, then I make sure like, oh snap, make sure my hand's not on my hips, or make sure I don't child boo, child boo, you know what I mean? Right. It's like, oh snap, and then it's like, oh wait, I'm in a room full of people who accept me. I can relax.
That exhale, like,
Okay, I can
So it's
try.
okay. It's
I
okay
can try
to
to boo it and stand and
Right.
sit and cross my legs or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It says freeing. It's incredibly freeing.
There was another line that stood out for me. Pinched nose and glamoured over.
Yeah.
Take us back right there to that line.
Okay, so I said, I find that I only love myself when the picture of me is pinched nose and glamoured over.
Well, I have a feeling what that means, but you go ahead.
Yeah,
And drop
so I grew up in the beginnings of the digital age, and a lot of my middle school and early high school was like Snapchat and Instagram and all these filters and trying to make you look like other than who you are. And I'm realizing that while this line stood true for me once, it doesn't stand true for me anymore. But I still have to find ways to pull myself away from that, feeling like feeling like things need to be so clean cut and perfected, and just doing away with the notion that women just can't be messy. Like, we're totally capable of it. If you see half these women's room, they won't look as put together as you think they are. But for us to feel like we have to fit this very narrow, very European mold is like ridiculous. So I found myself just like at a young age not taking pictures or any videos without a filter. It always had to have a filter on. My skin always had to be without texture. Always had to be all of this stuff going on. I looked the exact opposite of who I really was. Mm-hmm. And so just like in seeing that picture that was taken and just like remembering every single thing I've ever felt self-conscious about, it was like that one thing, just like taking those pictures and having your nose be all pinched and your cheekbones high and rosy. It's like not everybody has like the same facial shape. Some things just work better for other people, but you want to make everybody universally this one thing. It's very limiting.
This line, I can really relate to this next line. A practiced smile.
Yeah.
I used to wake up, when I was like your age in school, I would wake up and look in the mirror and say, who do I want to be today? Anybody but me. Let's roll the dice. Who will we be today? Sometimes I would be the rebel. Sometimes I would be the class clown, you jokester. Sometimes I would be the A+ student. I just didn't want to be me. So what does that mean to you? A practiced smile.
Just a smile that says, well, oh no, it's fine, I'm okay. No, it's fine, I'm okay. Just like they could tell that I was uncomfortable, but I was brushing it off like I was fine and putting on this like very placid smile and being like, yeah, I'm fine, it's no worries, I'm awkward, it's okay, I'm just, just like brushing it off like nothing really matters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you found comfort in being able to express yourself as you are.
What do you mean?
Without the facade.
Right, exactly. I do feel comfortable with that. I think the thing that made me the most uncomfortable in that situation was that I didn't feel like I was showing up as my best self. Mm-hmm. Where it didn't mean that my hair was braided 32 inches down my back and I had a bunch of makeup on, but it just meant that I was ready and I was prepared and I was comfortable in my body. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. So earlier, you spoke about some after-school program or something that you're involved in. Can you tell a little bit more about that?
Talking about the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, A-list. Y'all saved my life. I really can't. Y'all saved my life. Like, I was new to Miami and I was taking care of my family, so I was cooking and cleaning and doing laundry while my siblings had softball and baseball and football, and my mom was working security, and there were just a lot of just really heavy situations that I had to deal with on my own because everybody else had their own thing and I didn't have anything that was lifting me up. So while I was in school, one of my teachers, she told me about Black Girls Matter, and there was like this event where all of the different basically like these organizations, these nonprofit organizations based on uplifting Black youth, Soul Sisters Leadership Collective, Girl Power, all of those, they came together and had this big Black Girls Matter show. And I was a part of that, and I met Lonnie. And her presence and the way she took care of us and the questions she asked to bring these little things out of us that we didn't know was there, it really was like, oh my God, like this is what I'm capable of. I can do this now. And so we lost contact for a little while because I think, you know, things happen and people's phone numbers change and stuff like that. So then I got in contact with her again, and she's like, I need your Instagram, I need your phone number, like we're gonna talk. And so the first day I came to A-List, she wasn't there. I think she was on vacation somewhere. I think it was like, gotta be like Louisiana or something like that. And I met the troupe, and immediately it was like open talk about queerness and mental health. It was like all of these things, and I was meeting people, and at first glance you make your assumptions always, you know, and at the time I wasn't where I am right now. So immediately my brain was like assessing how best I can, you know, how can I, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to just like dress to impress. And I was realizing that all of them, Vicky and Becky and I can't remember anybody else's names, Karina, everybody was just coming in as they are. And I was like, I could just like breathe, like you were saying, like, oh God, like I can be myself here, I can talk, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, since then it's like y'all just really helped me like cultivate myself as an artist and learn how to be patient with myself. And the biggest thing that I learned was how to put myself first. I never put myself first before. I was always like, what can I do to best help the situation? I always reassessed how helping myself was going to hinder how I was helping everybody else. I wasn't putting myself first. I was like, oh, pick me, look at me, look what I can do. But I wasn't being vulnerable in that I wasn't asking for what I needed. And I'm learning that that's a whole other vulnerability, saying, I need this, I want this, can I have this, and not being afraid. And yeah, that's like the biggest thing I've learned, just like being here, that you can ask for what you need and it can be well received. Nobody's gonna yell at you, nobody's gonna say you're being ungrateful for asking for more. You offered more, and I want you to take that. So yeah.